What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our Kratom Addiction and Recovery Daily Devotional series. So we're in our study in Job, and we left off where Job went through a second series of tests where his health was affected. And we broke down over the past few days about how he was handling these tests, and we applied that to our own situations. So today we're going to pick up in chapter 5. And so this is when Job's friends start coming around him and they start asking him questions about why this could have happened and what he should do about it. So we're going to start in chapter 5 verse 1, and this is going to be one of Job's friends' responses to him. Cry for help, but will anyone answer you? Which of the angels will help you? Surely resentment destroys the fool and jealousy kills the simple. I have seen that fools may be successful for the moment, but then comes sudden disaster. If I were you, I would go to God and present my case to him. He does great things too marvelous to understand. He performs countless miracles. But consider the joy of those corrected by God. Do not despise the discipline of the Almighty when you sin. For though he wounds, he also bandages. He strikes, but his hands also heal. We have studied life and found all this to be true. Listen to my counsel and apply it to yourself. So there's a big part of Job where his friends are coming to hang out with him, and they're all kind of giving Job their advice. And it's really interesting to see how each of these friends is basically telling Job how he should look at this situation and questioning him as to why it happened. And so as we get into this part of the book, I want to talk about how other people's opinions and how they look at us and our addiction and recovery process and how they question us. I want to kind of look at that in relationship to what we're learning about in Job, because we're all humans. We all have relationships. It's the nature of humans to give their opinions and to, question either different things about you or your situation, or to gossip or to slander. And so I want to look at this, and there's nothing wrong with people asking questions or sharing advice or anything like that, but the point that I really want to go into about this is that it doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what people's opinions are of you. It doesn't matter what people think that you should be doing or how you should be handling something. What matters is God. And as we see this part of this book of Job where, his friends come and they're asking him questions and they're just, giving him advice and stuff, like I said, it's fine. It's fine for people to do that. But it's important to remember, who ultimately we answer to. And the next couple chapters that ends up unfolding, there is some cool stuff that some of these friends are saying that we could reflect on, that if I were you, I would go to God and present my case to him. He does great things too marvelous to understand. He performs countless miracles. And then it goes into this whole like poetic thing. He gives rain for the earth and water for the fields. He gives prosperity to the poor and protects those who suffer. And it kind of goes on. And so there's definitely little nuggets of wisdom to pull from this chapter, but the main point of it is that like God is the one who we should be answering to. And it's really easy, especially when we find ourselves in times of trouble, to like seek comfort and counsel from other people, like friends, family members, therapists, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that these people and these, professional types of help are not a good thing to have in your life. Having support like that is awesome. But I think it's important to remember that, like, God ultimately is the one that is, most important. And it's really easy to get things, out of order and out of balance, in the sense that like, we can often try to go to a person or try to go to a counselor and ask for answers about our situation. And where we really need to be going is to God. And people can give us their opinions, people can give us, their counsel or their advice, but God is ultimately what's most important. And here's the thing, you guys, is that like people come and go. And for a lot of us, for me, I found myself when I was in the hardest parts of my addiction and recovery where I didn't have anybody to talk to. My husband was working a ton, and when he came home, we had like maybe an hour before he would go to bed to, be able to get up the next morning and start it all the next day. So like, and my son was old enough where he was doing his own thing and he wasn't around. So like, not that I should talk to my son anyways, but I tried finding counselors during that time. I tried opening up to family members and friends, and unfortunately, they all, weren't able to be the support that I needed them to be. And so it was all for a reason, though, and there was a purpose for it, because it ultimately was what made me rely on God. And that's one of the most awesome things about God, is that like, he is our counselor, he is our confidant, he is our support, he is our encouragement, he is our best friend. So that's the point of today, is that like, I encourage you to think about this. Like, what friends do you have coming around like Job, that are, sharing their advice or their feedback, or even like, let's like relate it on a super like real level. Like, a lot of you guys are coming to me, and I'm here for you. I love you, and I'm here for you. But like, I every day say, for God to use me. And I do believe that God is working through me to reach you. But a lot of you that come to me, and I'm not saying don't come to me, you all are so welcome to come to me, but like, I'm just like using it as an example of like, a lot of you come to me for advice and for support and counsel and stuff. And I encourage you to think about that today. Like, what humans are, like, what of your friends, like Job's friends that are coming around, or like, people that are you seeking out for like counsel or advice or their opinions or whatever, like, what are those kind of people in your life looking like? And what would it look like if you were to go to God for your support and your counsel and your comfort? I'm not saying don't go to therapy. I'm not saying don't have friends and don't have family. I'm not saying that, but I'm just, inquiring about like what it would look like if we went to God for our counsel and for our comfort and for our support first and foremost, and then other people come after that. Because as we see in this chapter where Job's friend is, kind of like telling him, what he thinks about the situation. And so that, I think, is an interesting way to look at like how that could be taking shape in our lives. Like who's coming to you, or who are you going to and asking for, advice or counsel or, feedback or whatever it is. Like who is that? And like, are you looking to them before God? Because the answers truly come from God. So think about that today. I know that this is, cannot be that easy to look at in some ways. Like we want the comfort of a person. Shoot, if somebody was able to be, with me and able to relate to me when I was going through the hardest parts of my recovery and my addiction process, I would have loved it, but they just weren't there. And so it forced me, like I said, to go to God. And I found in that like that laid a really super solid foundation in me and God's relationship. Am I perfect now? No, I keep saying that this week. Like I go through my challenges so much, you guys. And I get it. Like you can't sit down and have like a audible conversation with God. But in prayer, like we can go to him and we can pour our hearts out and just, share everything, our deepest, darkest secrets and fears. And, we can sit in quiet and in meditation, and we can go to the word and seek answers. And there's this beautiful like space and communication that happens in that. So I encourage you to think about that today. And let us know how you're doing in the comment section below. And we're going to pick up on Monday next week as we continue in Job. And I love you guys, and I'll see you then. Bye.